As the sun beats down on the Monza circuit, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour round number 7, the first racing action of the weekend. And my goodness me, Monza could not be a better location to welcome the World Tour field for what should be a frantic day of racing. Up here in the commentary box, my name is Paul Jeffrey. Down there on the grid is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Neil Cole. Hello, Neil. Wonderful to have him down on the grid. In a few moments' time, we'll have a quick word from all of the movers and shakers ahead of this first race of the day. And if qualifying is anything to go by, mark my words, this is going to be a very entertaining first race indeed. So, Neil's not baking in that sunshine. Let's head down and see who we can find from our driving cohort.
Well, hello, buongiorno, and welcome to Autodromo Nazionale Monza, or simply to its friends, Monza. It's very nearly race 1 o'clock, which is round 7 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour 2025. You're very welcome to this very busy, very exciting grid. Now, if we just spin around, that's the grid forming up behind us. We just spin around, you'll see that's the journey down to turn 1. And you can see the heat haze because it is hot. The track temperature is about 53, 54 degrees, and it is very, very warm. So one thing that's for sure is this clockwise circuit is going to put a lot of pressure onto the front left tyres as it goes around this classic fast circuit. Our pole man is Norbert Michelitz, Norby. Let's see if we can grab a quick word with Norby. Norby, are you free to talk? Yeah. Okay. Well done on getting pole position. You said it was a perfect lap, I think. What can you do to stay out front?
First of all, I need to have a good getaway, which is not easy. I mean, it's a bit up and down this season with standing start. Also, as you can see, it's a long distance up until breaking 41. I mean, I'm in a good position right now, but I mean, with this distance to the first corner, many things can happen. So I will do my best. I will try to have a good launch, and then let's wait and see.
You've got your teammate Mikel Azcona alongside you. Will you be able to work together with some towing, or is it every man for himself?
All depends on the start. I mean, if we have a similar start, a good start, there is the possibility, of course, to work together. But like I told you, it's a bit up and down this season, standing start. So we just need to wait and see. In case he has a better launch, I will do my best to stay with him. In case it's the other way around, I will do my very best to defend.
Okay. Thank you, Norby. Good luck. So, Norby Michelitz there, who, the last time he was on pole position for a TCR World Tour event was last year at Vallelunga, and before that in Italy. So he clearly likes Italian tracks. Let's see if we can speak to Jan Erlache, because, of course, Jan is our championship leader still. There he is. See if we can have a quick word. And he had an amazing weekend last weekend in Valencia. Sorry to interrupt. Could we have a quick word with Jan? Jan, when we spoke yesterday after FP2, you said, if I'm in the top 10, then I'm happy. You're very much in the top 10. You're near the front of the grid.
Actually, yes, a bit surprised, to be honest, about our pace, especially after the 2 free practice where we were a bit off. We don't see any Hondas in the front, and we were expecting some, so we know it's going to be a tough race with the 40 kilo. We knew it's going to be a tough qualifying as well. I think it's going to impact us a little bit more today in the race than in the quali, but we are happy to be here. It was points in quali. We are in the pack to fight for something, for good points, and that's what we wanted with the 40 kilo anyway.
And as putting the 40 kilo to one side, can you just tell us what's different in the setup of this car for such a fast circuit compared to Valencia last weekend? I mean, you want minimum drag for sure.
Exactly. You want minimum drag, but not too low to not lose stability, because you have a lot of high-speed corners here. So it's just a compromise between having low drag and still enough downforce to do the corners quick. But for sure, top speed is a key, and is even more a key in the race if you want to survive places or to overtake people. Yeah.
Okay, have a good race.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So, very interesting there from Jan, and of course he has got some other Link & Co. Cyan Racing buddies around him that can work together if they want to. I'll just see if I can have a quick word with Santi Urrutia. First of all, how are you doing from this position on the grid? It's kind of going to be similar for tomorrow's race as well, but what can you see going into the first few laps in this?
It's just another race of the championship, you know, so nothing different. It's very tight. We have 30 kilo in the car, and it's so much grip on track that the question will be if the tires can survive for you know, for the race. We've been working a little bit yesterday in FP2, but we don't really know how it is. We of course we're going on the safe side. Hyundai is very quick at the front, and then the Coupe as well is very quick in the straight. So I focus on myself and do a good start, and then see if I can keep the pace with the guys in the front. But mainly the biggest thing for us is just to finish the race, you know. Just we are P2 in the championship. We are good position to score for the team as well. So that will be the key for today's race.
Okay, mucha suerte. Have a good one. Let's see if we can find someone else to speak to. Now we should have on the grid one of our wildcards. We've got a few wildcards. We've got our regulars. We should have had, there's a hole in the grid because we should have had someone who was, Jacopo Chimenez was going to be joining us, but he's just come P4 in the TCR Italy race, and he hasn't made it from Parc Fermé. So we'll find out from our commentators if he may start from the pit lane or if he's out for the race. Let's see how far back we can get before it's time to, let's go and have a word with Esteban, because coming into this weekend, it looked like the package for the Hondas was going to be very impressive here. They looked very quick in free practice. Let's see if we can have a word with Esteban Guerrieri, who finds himself much further back than I'm sure he would have wanted to, and he has to do the same for both races. If we could just have a quick word, Esteban. Naturally, qualifying didn't go as well as you would have hoped. Have you got to the bottom to understand why?
Not really. We lost considerable time from yesterday to today, and the rest they move forward. They went quicker. So we don't really know why, but it is what it is. So now from here, try to do a good race with the weather, with the heat, and the tires are going to suffer for sure. So let's try to be smart and move forward. But yeah, not many answers from qualifying, to be honest.
But realistically, you have a chance with some towing to make up some places today and then do it all again tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, the guys in front of us, they went quicker in qualifying. I mean, we have potential. We didn't put like our best potential of the car, I would say, in quali. But the others are not slow. On the straight, we thought we were quick, like we were in Mexico. But now we realize that the others, I don't know how, they got also quicker. So let's see. Let's see how the race goes, and we speak after, hopefully in the podium. Yeah, okay. Why not?
Thank you, mucha suerte. So there we go. He's got a lot to do. A little bit of a mystery as to why the pace disappeared from the GOAT Racing Honda. But the drivers are clearly getting helmets on and ready to get into the car. And this is what the low drag looks like. It cannot be any less drag than that. All of the aero is making sure they have maximum aero to go on these long straights, because this straight from Parabolica to the first turn is over 1 kilometer long. So I think we're nearly ready to go racing. The grid is formed. The drivers are getting into the car. It's nearly time to hand you back to your commentators.
Fabulous stuff there from Neil Cole down on the grid. Thank you very much, Neil. Not the easiest weather conditions to be walking around in a shirt with a camera pointed to you, I must say. Indeed, very, very hot here at Monza. Carrying on the theme, some might say, that we had at Valencia, although I dare say it's perhaps even a little bit warmer than 1 week ago when we visited the beautiful Riccardo Tormo circuit. Swap Valencia for Monza. Swap high temperatures for 30 degrees, 55 degrees track temperature, 47% humidity. It's going to be difficult. Santiago Urrutia hit the nail on the head on the grid when speaking with Neil. Tyres might be a problem over the course of this race. Of course, incredible temperatures, high load racetracks are nightmare fuel for the round things that go on each corner of these cars. Our Kumho tyres are great, but there will need to be a little bit of management, I think, from some of these drivers if they want to be in the best shape humanly possible come the checkered flag. It's also worth bearing in mind that unlike Valencia last time out, this is not a timed race. This is going to be a lap count event. So 11 laps. If it's green flag conditions, we do have wiggle room to bump it up to 13 should we fall under a safety car at any stage. We know where we stand. I'm sure, like me, you know this circuit very, very well indeed. Well, now it's time for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour drivers to etch their names in the history books. Another race on this iconic venue. Will it be one to remember or one to forget? If you're Norbert Michaelis, you'll be hoping for the most boring touring car race that ever came upon the face of the earth. He'll be hoping for a great launch off of the line, down into that very, very tricky first chicane, and hopefully for him, an easy 1-2 for the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team. I dare say the likes of Jan Elishay in 4th, Santiago Urrutia in 5th will have a little bit of something to say about that. And Ted Bjork starting in 7th position. Unlike last weekend, made it through to Q2. The Swedish driver had a solid event in Valencia despite the difficult qualifying of 5th and 9th and a 10th position. He'll be hoping to go a lot better from 7th on the grid this weekend. Mikel Azcona, is he going to be playing rear gunner or point man for the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team? Norby already mentioned on the grid, a lot is going to be down to how these cars launch off of the line. Whoever leads down at the braking point for the first turn will likely be the one that the team focus their attention on. Now, give two race car drivers, ultimatum like that one in the first chicane at Monza. Yes, I do hold my breath alongside you all. I'm absolutely sure this could be electric for the trip down into T1. And let's not forget as well, no more racing for the World Tour today. Back in action again tomorrow, 11:20 a.m. local time, 9:20 UTC. So if you're praying it, a little bit of time to fix it for these drivers. And that usually means shenanigans ensues. A good qualifying for Aurelien Comte after a relatively low-key event last time out in Spain. Aurelien is going to be starting from 3rd position on the grid, but crucially for Aurelien Comte, and this is the thing that we need to keep our beady eyes on, there is no compensation weight on board that car. So Jan Elishay is carrying 40 kilos, Santiago Urrutia alongside is carrying 30. Nestor Girolami also has 30 bolted onto his car, Ruben Volt 20, Marcinkoir just 10. It's a good opportunity, I hear you all say, for Aurelien Comte from 3rd on the grid. He had a great season so far this year. Difficult Valencia, 14th, 16th, 13th was the 3 results. But wind back to Mexico for round 1, a 3rd, a 5th and a 3rd. So Aurelien Comte cannot be discounted for the conversation for podium finishers. From 3rd on the grid, with no weight, I hear you say, and arguably, I think it's fair to say, no championship to fight for. Could be a big day for Aurelien Comte to score hearty points indeed. Big day for Santiago Urrutia to score hearty points indeed as well. From 5th on the grid, and very much in the mix of his Lincoln Co. Cyan racing teammates. Santiago 2nd in the championship coming into this race. He'll be hoping that he can try and find a way past all of his teammates around him, namely Jan Elishay, to become their victory charge. Great to see Ruben Volt back again. One of our guest drivers, Neil Cole, mentioned this on the grid. The World Tour, of course, travels all around the world, and we pick up local guest drivers as we join national events. Ruben Volt being one of them. We'll come back to that though. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Norbert Michaelis, Mikel Azcona are all Hyundai front row. Aurelien Comte and Jan Elishay will line up in 3rd and 4th positions respectively for Cupra and Link Co. Santiago Urrutia has Ruben Volt for company in 5th and 6th. Ted Bjork will start this one from 7th. John Filippi, decent qualifying there in 8th. Nacho Montenegro is 9th. Rounding out the top 10 is Bebu Girolami. Then it's Jacobo Jimenez and Fernandez Felipe in 12th position. Jimenez, by the way, will start from pit lane. Lionel Pania is 13th. Marcinkoir is 14th. Esteban Gurrieri has 15th against his name. Marco Butti for company in position number 16. Then it's Danilo Raduzzi in 17th and 18th and final driver on our grid of this 18-car field, 8 teams, 4 manufacturers. Victor Anderson lines up at the back of the pack in a bright orange MAGP Generation 1 Lincoln Co. machine. Gabriele Rizzo looks on as Gabriele Tarquini updates his social media. And here we go. Formation lap begins. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, motor racing is the best thing in the whole wide world. I will hear no arguments. And the best version of motor racing comes with the roof on. It's touring cars, of course. The Kumho FIA TCR World Tour has been exceptional since it came into being just a couple of seasons ago. Champion in both years of the World Tour has fallen the way of Norbert Mikulis, the Hungarian driver, former sim racer, former one-mate cup star, and now very much entrenched in the world of TCR and touring car racing in general. Norby's not had a 2025. He was looking for moving up to 7th in the points, as you see your provisional points there at the bottom of the screen. Don't get too wrapped up in those, folks. They're going to change at the end of this race. Qualifying, of course, pays out points, hence the reason things have changed. But back on point, Mikulis, 83 points in arrears at this moment in time. That's a big ask for the Hungarian driver, it has to be said. But the only way to make up a point deficit, I hear you all shout, scoring big points. And exactly that, Norbert will be very, very keen to make the most of this one. MAGP watching on. All smiles now for their point victor. Such a wonderful, wonderful family team racing TCR Europe as well as guesting in his last couple of rounds for Valencia here at Monza. The Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, and a bright orange car and a race grid's always a good thing. Plenty of colour, both in terms of the car and in terms of the personalities involved as well. Great to have them with us today. Not a great deal of tyre warm-up is going to be needed from our drivers. Of course, you go through the motions, get some tyre warmth in those Kumho slicks, heat up the brakes, heat up the wheel rim as well, and the well, just to have the heat sink all the way through the car. Make sure the brakes work, because you want those down into turn number 1, and you want the grip the first time that you ask for it as well, as we head down into the second chicane. All of these things, all of these plans as a racing driver, you have them drilled into your head right from the very start of your career. You must do this, you must execute in certain ways, you must do a certain amount of revs, warm the tyres up to X degrees centigrade, and you know what? All of that goes out of the window almost immediately as soon as our teams charge down into T1. Because when the gloves are off, folks, when battle does commence, there is absolutely nothing like throwing a plan completely and utterly down the drain. Round in the final corner then, Parabolica to you and I, curve the Michele Alboreto. Once upon a time it was renamed to as well. Michele Alboreto, of course, the legendary Formula 1 driver and very successful sports car and Le Mans winner as well. Sadly no longer with us is Michele Alboreto. It's very nice that the final corner has been named after the affable Italian. No link to touring cars, but still a very, very famous and popular name in the world of motorsports and sports car racing. Maybe one day, 20 years down the line, one of our World Tour drivers will have a corner named after them. Let's see if they give us an historic moment to think about to earn that distinction. Jan Aleshe, Santiago Urrutia, not the last time those two Lincoln Co's are quite so close together on the track, but it will be at racing speeds next time we see that one. An entirely different prospect indeed. Final few cars are rounding their way onto the grid. Hopefully my live timing starts working very, very soon indeed. That'll make my life a lot easier. So here we go then. In pole position, Norbert Mikulis from Mikel Azcona, Aurelien Comte and Jan Aleshe, the front two rows of the grid. Damiano Reduzzi, Victor Anderson line up on the final two rows of the grid. The medical car is in position. There is the man with the green flag. Best view in the house, that one is. As everybody watches on before we go motor racing. Green flag waves at the back of the grid. The lights are on. In a few moments' time, the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour round number 7 from Monza springs into life. And Aurelien Comte in third position gets a fabulous start for a run down into T1. The outside line is Aurelien Comte. The inside line is Mikel Azcona, but he's been swallowed up by an armada of Lincoln Co. Cyan racing machines to the outside. Contact further back. That's Ruben Volt facing the wrong direction. Involved in him as well as the 127 of John Filippi. I think one of the Lincoln Co. cars we saw at the back of shot as well has got wrapped up into that one. Meanwhile, further up, Jan Aleshe is going side by side almost seconds from Valencia once again between Aleshe and Santiago Urrutia. Both drivers survive. Advantage Aleshe as Comte looks to find a way past Mikel Azcona in third position, and then the remaining walking movement of this field make their way through. Marco Butti in 9th place manages to survive the opening lap skirmishes and encounters, but Marcin War, John Filippi, all involved in that one, as well as Ruben Volt. Volt, though, back on the racetrack once again. And for Jimenez, starting from pit lane, that worked out very nicely indeed. Jimenez up in a 16th place, past the Stranded and in Strife cars ahead. Picking up Ted Bjork at this moment in time. Ted's got plenty of company indeed. That's Nacho Montenegro. Easy as you like for Nacho in a straight line. Makes his way past the 111. Bjork reluctant to give that one up, but has to cede position. Drops back into the Ascari chicane. Bebu Girolami, there we go, hunting and stalking in the background as Victor Anderson goes on to the gravel. Anderson, though, will recover the MAGP machine, and yes, he does. At the back of his shot, we can still see that car as Nestor Girolami and Marco Butti now go side by side. Girolami to the inside. Marco, can he go all the way around the outside of the Parabolica? No, very wisely elects better of it. But look at the turning capability of that GOAT Racing Honda Civic. Butti, seemingly at will, can walk the car to the apex, gets the tight line, takes the position away from Bebu Girolami. Girolami now has Esteban Guerrieri and Felipe Fernandez for company behind. Good stuff then for Marco Butti. He's up into 8th. Ted Bjork, he's the next man on the list, although Girolami doesn't want to give this one up at all. A defensive manoeuvre, or attacking manoeuvre should I say, turns defensive, but for Bebu Girolami, he is hemorrhaging time in this fight. And now, I think it's only a matter of time until Esteban Guerrieri becomes very interested in the bike of his fellow Argentinian driver. At the front of the field, Aurelien Comte becoming very interested indeed to the inside of Norbert Michaelis as Marchinguar unfortunately says goodbye from race 1. Ted Bjork, by the way, off screen, has moved up to 6 ahead of Nacho Montenegro, and there is the 127 of John Felipe. Car's back on track, but doesn't look anywhere near as healthy as teammate Aurelien Comte up there in 2nd position. Yann Alessi still withholding or withstanding the pressure from Santiago Urrutia behind. A little bit like a sponge in the rain, though. Sometimes it just gets a bit too full. So Yann Alessi needs to be very, very mindful of championship points, as well as the here and now fight with his teammates in and around him on the racetrack. Beautiful scenes then here from Monza. As we lifting a couple of wheels over the curbs, you've got to be liberal with your curb strike usage here at the Monza circuit. It's the only way to go fast. We saw Nacho Montenegro not quite as committed through Ascari as teammate Marco Butti behind. Butti was lining up for a look as John Felipe unfortunately lines up for an early shower. Marco Butti and Montenegro almost side by side. Butti holds on to it for now. In fact, Butti, my mistake, apologies. Butti makes the pass on Nacho Montenegro, should I say. Pick that one up just at the end into the Parabolica. But Marco Butti, don't know what he had for breakfast this morning, but whatever it is, seems to be working very nicely indeed for the Italian driver on a real charge. Is Marco, having qualified all the way down in 16th position, believe it or not. 9 places gained. He's up in a 2nd. 7th is Aurelien Comte, sets the fastest lap of the race so far in his pursuit of Norbert Michaelis at the head of the pack. How many TCR cars in a line then? Can you fit through the chicane? Beautiful scenes. But before we look any further, let's take a quick look at that race start once again and try and unpick what happened at the start of this race. So at the front of the field, then Norbert Michaelis, great start, but watch Aurelien Comte in 3rd. Beautiful launch off the line from the 107. Good challenges for an early race lead, but further down the pack, look at the 27 of Ruben Volt. The Honda to the inside. Little bit of rearward contact, I think, from John Felipe is the reason that car pirouetted. And the absolute luckless Marchinguar has nothing he can do about it. Now, on second viewing, was that contact between John Felipe, or was it a contact between this man, Bebu Girolami? Oh, yikes. You push John Felipe. Okay, so there we go. That explains why the 127's in strife. I dare say Ruben Volt will be somewhat unamused by that one. But these are the things that happen down to the first corner. Unfortunately, at Monza, it's an evil bit of racetrack, is that one. And 18 cars, one piece of tarmac. Sadly, somebody is going to miss out on that one. Aurelien Comte, though, doesn't want to miss out on a Kumho FIA TCR World Tour victory. Look at this one. There are 2 cars there, even though it's hidden behind the back. Comte with a little bit of bonnet lift. I saw that in qualifying as well, actually. Doesn't seem to be any cause for concern at this moment in time. But it's definitely something to keep our beady eyes on, as Aurelien Comte is showing significant pace. Let's have a look then as they cross the line. Last time around, 0.2 of a second quicker than Norbert Michaelis was the French driver. Benefit of slipstream, of course, is substantial here at Monza. And now look at that slipstream. This is the close down. Norbert well aware of the threat to the inside, starts to walk the car back onto the racing line. Aurelian Comte runs out of racing room, but Norby's very deep. Norby makes a big mistake into the first chicane. That's very deep indeed. He's going to be compromised now all the way up to the run through the Curva Grande. Aurelian Comte glued to the back of the 105. BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa machine. Catching's one thing, passing is quite another feast indeed. Who's going to be the bravest then? Into the second chicane. Comte has the outside line. He does not have the overlap, and Norbert Michaelis withstands the pressure. But for how long can the Hungarian hold on? Absolutely sensational stuff then at the head of the pack. Aurelian Comte, zero compensation weight aboard that car. Norbert Michaelis, zero compensation weight aboard that car. These are two drivers racing to their absolute limits. Norby said the car in qualifying was absolutely beautiful. Aurelian Comte says the weather's nice, I'll see the beach. No, scratch the beach, I'll stay on the racetrack, as he hooks two wheels onto the outside gravel. But Norby, confident, inspired by the car underneath him, concerned about the pace, but happy with the balance. And that balance has given Norbert Michaelis all the tools he needs to hold off the ever-increasing pressure of car number 107, Aurelian Comte, behind. And this is the mistake from a different angle. A little bit too much speed carried in for Aurelian Comte. It's going to drive the car, in fact, caught the curb on the inside, in fact. That could have been a significantly more challenging incident for Aurelian. As well, though, to minimise that time loss. And I dare say, with the pace that the SP competition Cupra is showing at this moment in time, he'll still have reasonable confidence of closing back onto the rear of Norbert Michaelis. Oh no, he won't. Oh no, he won't. That is the front left tyre of Aurelian Comte's 107. A little skirt into the gravel was much too much, says that Kumho slick, and Aurelian Comte slowly, discouragingly, devastatingly crawled that car in to a DNF. Norbert Michaelis' birthday present comes early at the head of the pack because he's reinstalled his teammate in second position, but with a hearty 1.6 second advantage to boot. But folks, take a moment to collectively applaud and then sigh on behalf of Aurelian Comte. That's a real shame. It was a powerful drive up to this moment in time, and unfortunately, those sawtooth curbs, they are a sharp. 2 times into the gravel / curbs in very quick order. Unfortunately, was too many times for Aurelian Comte. Our first, is it our first DNF? Actually, no, Marcinkow and John Filippi are already out of this one. Aurelian Comte makes it 3, did not finish us so far in this race. 5 laps of 11 are in the books. No sign of the threatened thunderstorms in the air as well, so we're going to be hot, hot, hot all the way to the checkered flag, and all that drama is now promoted Jan Aleshay up into the bottom step of the podium. 3rd, 4th and 5th position for the Lincoln Co Cyan Racing team. They'll take that one, as we've seen Santiago Urrutia just moving to the side and allowing teammate Ted Bjork up into 4th place. And an orchestrated team play there from the Lincoln Co squad. It'll hurt Santi, but he's allowed his team to be. Right then. 5 laps in the books of 11. Can we make this 30, please? Absolutely fabulous, fabulous stuff. So far, Norbert Michaelis leads from Mikel Azcona, Jan Aleshay and Ted Bjork. And that is Santiago Urrutia, not going at racing speed. Even I can get that one right. What has happened to the Uruguayan driver? Second in the championship, he said his prophetic words on the grid to Neil Cole: I just want to score the points. Well, I'm sorry, Santiago, but I'm afraid wave goodbye to those points for race number 1. He's going very slowly, and I dare say will visit pit lane in the non-too-distant future. That's a real shame for Santiago. That'll be why Ted Bjork made his way past. I was wondering the strategy behind that one. So a 3-4-5 felt good for Lincoln Co. 3-4, not quite as tasty. It does seem Marcinkow already in pit lane, so that's 2 of the 4 Lincoln Co's into an early goodbye in this round 7 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. And in case you didn't believe me, picture tells 1,000 words. Oh no! Mikel Azcona! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is not going out very well at all. Mikel Azcona's going slowly now in the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa machine from second position. The Spanish driver, tail gunner to teammate Norbert Michaelis in this race. You guessed it. A little bit too aggressive, and there is the end result for Mikel. So slowly around, hopefully he can get that car either into a safe zone or back in pit lane so we don't fall under safety car conditions. But for Mikel Azcona, that is not good news, and this This, folks, is going to equal very nervous times indeed for Norbert Michaelis. Now, Jan Elishay, having, quite frankly, passed nobody in an overtaking manoeuvre, finds himself in second position. Beautiful stuff for Elishay and his championship charge. Speaking of championship chargers, Esteban Gurrieri on your screen. No idea where the pace went in qualifying. Well, it's back for the race. Gurrieri up into 7th position, just behind Bebu Girolami, but crucially, not one, but 2 GOAT Racing Honda teammates ahead. Will they decide upon themselves it may be a good idea to help out their team leader? We'll follow that one as a little bit further back. We've got a bit of dust kicked up from Victor Anderson, Ruben Volt there, and Jacobo Jimenez involved as well. Jimenez leading this 3-car train for now. With the ALM Motorsports Honda Civic of Ruben Volt keeping a watching brief. Fired up. Let's remember Ruben Volt having just been fired off on the opening lap. Ruben on the recovery drive at this moment in 13th position. I have a feeling will turn into 12th place before too long. Jimenez, of course, double duty with TCR Italy this weekend, hence the reason he couldn't make his starting position. Finished 4th in TCR Italy. Car was still at the Parc Ferme. Well, those Hondas are robust, aren't they? Because he's back out on the racetrack again, and in this weather, it's a good job as a young lad. Very, very hard work indeed, but doing a stout effort, it has to be said. Although I do think the inevitable onslaught of Ruben Volt will be just a straw too many on the camel's back for Jacobo Jimenez, and he'll be losing that one before too long, as Norbert Michaelis is playing the most conservative game you've ever seen a race car driver play at Monza. Stay away from debris, stay away from curbs, stay away from gravel. Stress the car, not one iota. That will be the message from Gabriele Rizzo, team manager of the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa outfit. Just bring it home, Norbert. That's all we need you to do. Take the first victory of the season that's presented itself to you. Let's not go for an early DNF. Bebu Girolami, by the way, as we check in on his only remaining teammate of Norbert Michaelis. The Argentinian driver started this one in 10th. Why is that cool, I hear you ask? Because that makes pole position for race number 2 tomorrow morning. So far, Girolami is doing a good recovery. Drivers Mikel Azcona finally makes it back to pit lane. Girolami up there in 6th position. And there is Mikel going for a little systems check, make sure everything's still straight, pointing in the right direction. And the car is good to begin work on for race number 2. Here is Ruben Volt. I promise you an overtake, folks. Well, here you go. Down into Parabolica. Will I, won't I? Will I, won't I? Do I, don't I? Ruben Volt, for the first time since I've met him and known him, decides not to make the overtaking manoeuvre. Don't worry, don't be disappointed. It'll be back as Lionel Pernia moves up into 8th position off camera past Felipe Fernandez. Good stuff from the TCR South American Championship leader. Let's have a look at the TCR Euro driver, though, versus the TCR Italian star. Ruben Volt doesn't quite, even with a slipstream, have enough to drag alongside. But he's a very brave man on that middle pedal. Ruben Volt gets the ALM Honda Civic stopped. Takes the position away from the sister machine, MM Motorsport car of Jimenez. That's a change of position to 11th and 12th, respectively. 11th in the favour of Ruben Volt. Jimenez having dropped down into 12th position. 8 laps then of 11 in the books. This is a replay again of the move that we have just witnessed, and that is Ruben Volt stopping the car on a dime into the first chicane. Very effective manoeuvre indeed. Good enough for 11th place for now. Fabulous stuff then, nice fair driving from both of those drivers. Look at the debris that you can see on the track. That's the back straight for the run down into Parabolica. All of our drivers have been past it a couple of times now, so they're aware it's there, of course, and Mikel Azcona would dearly like that bit of debris not to be there because it came from his car. There is the damaged 196. At least Azcona still circulating. 14th is classified, actually, so there are points to be had. Reduzzi, by the way, moves up past Felipe Fernandez, so Felipe starting to lose a little bit of pace in the final moments of this race. And what are we watching here? That's the recently just made an overtake Ruben Volt. Doing a little bit of a waltz, isn't he? Did he manage to gather? Is that a problem or is that a mistake for Ruben? Not quite sure, but the end result is Jimenez is back through again. As we take a look at the still battle-beaten and scarred Mikel Azcona, circulating in 14th. Important for Mikel, though, that's still a couple of precious Kumho FIA TCR World Tour points. By the way, while we're watching Mikel Azcona, Marco Butti loses out to Bebu Girolami, so that's a very important move for Bebu. As Ruben Volt, hazard lights on, So it wasn't a mistake. There is some kind of strife on an ALM Motorsports Honda Civic. And unfortunately, what was a strong recovery drive results in yet more debris for the marshals and spectators to take home with them tonight. That is front left issues for Ruben Volt's Honda Civic. And that is unfortunately the Estonian driver, no doubt circulating back to pit lane in the hope that he can do what Mikael Kona's doing there and just put a few more laps in. The damaged car. Mikael Kona's teammate, by the way, Norbert Mikkelis, his advantage has now extended to 2.9 seconds. And is that Felipe Fernandez I see coming down pit lane as well, just ahead of Ruben Volt? We'll have a look and find out some confirmation of that one in a few moments' time. Fernandez having dropped now to 12th position, so yes, I think it is Felipe from well inside the top 10. His day, unfortunately, has fallen down as we pick up our race leader, Norbert Mikkelis. So going cautiously is working quite well for Norby at this moment in time. 9 of 11 laps in the books. Jan Alishay, Ted Bjork, almost as one, still hunting last time around. 57.8 for Norby, 57.7 for Ted and Jan, respectively. So the pace is very similar amongst them. It is a conservation drive, I dare say, at this moment in time. Nacho Montenegro's been a little bit under the radar, hasn't he? Or he certainly has in my mind. He's done a very good job as the former TCR South America champion, FIA Motorsports Games winner and TCR Europe runner-up. Successful 3 years for Nacho, isn't it? 4th position on the world stage is not to be sniffed at. By the way, because Fernandez and Volta in pit lane and Mikael Kona's not, that bumps off Kona up in a 12th position. So strategy to get the car back up and running. Very nicely indeed, as Ted Bjork tries in the very, very, very most obvious way possible to let Jan Alishay know that he'd quite enjoy being ahead of the French driver. Marco Butti loses 2. Pania up to 7th and Reduzzi into 8. So Butti in some kind of strife. Ruben Volt back on the racetrack again, trying to do enough Kona to score some points. So that's good that Ruben's back out again. But Ted Bjork, he won't be allowed to pass at this late stage. It will be formation flying, I'm sure, for the Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing drivers, as there are 2 GOAT racing cars in pit lane. So I was correct there. It is Fernandez and unfortunately Marco Butti having some kind of difficulties. Esteban Girolamo is having a different kind of difficulty. His difficulty is a frustrated Esteban Guerrieri all the way up the rear exhaust pipe of his BRC Hyundai. Guerrieri, remember, nightmare qualifying, 16th position. Well, he's 6th now, climbing over the back of 5th, and most likely will be awarded 4th by his teammate Montenegro if he can just find a way past Bebu. Not an easy task to do. Good bit of driving from Girolamo. On the grid to 5th in the race. Very few retirees ahead as well. So a lot of that has been done on pure pace and performance from the Argentinian. He is definitely not going to be too enthusiastic about letting one of his team's main championship rivals, the former Esteban Guerrieri, any sniff have an opportunity to find a way past in his final few laps. Reduzzi, by the way, moves up in a 7th position. So Reduzzi having a great drive there. Pania being the one that unfortunately misses out. Pania now down into 8th position. In 7th goes Damiano Reduzzi. Good bit of driving then from the Team WRT squad. The Hyundai Elantra and TCRs in this field as Ted Bjork again entering the final lap. Just lets Jan Alishay know, I'm not going to attack you, Jan, but if you make a mistake, you're going to pay a very hearty price indeed. That's what Ted Bjork's doing there, trying to fill the mirrors of his teammate, play the team game, see if he can rustle up an opportunity for himself as Esteban Guerrieri now launches a final lap attack. 4th position, Guerrieri and Girolamo. That could be vital for those two if Guerrieri can just find a way past. So only his teammate ahead and some more opportunity, but Nacho Montenegro holds on for now as Jimenez moves up into 8th position. So Pania being the one that misses out on this occasion, and that's why Lionel Pania misses out. You guessed it, issues with the front left-hand corner. Hopefully for the ALM Honda Civic driver, he can get that car in the pit lane and we can stay fully on the green flag conditions. Why, I hear you ask? This is why. Esteban Guerrieri on the final lap launches an attack. Bebu Girolamo has absolutely no response whatsoever. Guerrieri takes the inside line. Guerrieri takes the corner. Guerrieri moves up in a 5th position. Nestor Girolamo down 1. Great pass on the final lap for Esteban. Now the opportunity could present itself. Will Nacho Montenegro give that position away to help with the championship charge of the number 186 Argentinian teammate behind? Not many opportunities to do so, and with Bebu Girolamo watching and hunting, it may be a risk too many. Jan Alishay will be dearly pleased. dearly pleased to see the end of this race. Ted Bjork climbing all over the back of him. Bjork has the pace. Does he have the permission to find a way past? That's the biggest question of all. The back of his shot, that's a very wide Bebu Girolami, but Norbert Michaelis, his last race win was in Interlagos in 2024. Can Norby see it through the final few corners? Through the Parabolica we go, and there will only ever be one winner from the first race of the weekend of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour here at Monza, and that winner is your reigning champion. Norbert Michaelis takes the victory at the line. Jan Elishay, Ted Bjork rounding out the podium positions, and then it's Goat Racing's Nacho Montenegro and Esteban Gurrieri with Bebu Girolami rounding out the top 6. Absolutely incredible stuff then here at Monza, and what a victory that was for Norbert Michaelis. All of the support network around him, all of the confidence and comfort that he's had from qualifying on the start of the race evaporated rapidly with a spate of incidents for our drivers. Mikael Azcona being the tail gunner to Norbert Michaelis out of contention early doors. Azcona recovers to 10th place, but with that pressure, with the need to drive quickly and yet safely, Norby delivered in the finest way possible. That's going to be a very welcome 30 points for race victory for Norbert Michaelis. Good drive as well, good recovery on the Lincoln Co. Sayad Racing squad. Second for Jan Elishay, third for Ted Bjork. I think the team will be absolutely delighted why that one. Of our guest drivers, it's worth mentioning Damiano Reduzzi, up there in 7th place. That's a brilliant drive for the Team Trico WRT squad. And then just behind him, Jacobo Jimenez in 8th place. Great stuff as well from the 19-year-old Italian driver. Victor Anderson is 10th. Mikael Azcona, unbelievably, despite having been down pit lane with all the dramas that happened around, is classified 10th and has 8 points to his name. Not bad, even if you had a perfect race for Mikael Azcona. Marco Butti will be classified in 11th. Lionel Pernia is in pit lane. Ruben Volt has already crossed the flag for 13th position. Felipe Fernandez, Santiago Arrutia, Aurelian Comte, Marcinkoir and John Filippi are the drivers that unfortunately will not receive the satisfaction of taking the checkered flag for round 7 of the World Tour. First race of the weekend here at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. A beautiful, beautiful racetrack, the Temple of Speed as it's commonly known. And our Kumho FIA TCR World Tour drivers put on a great show. I think you will agree. I certainly enjoyed that one. Hope you all did, watching at home on the TCR TV YouTube channel. We'll have a look at the connotations that this causes in the championship standings in a very, very short while. Furious mathematical calculations are being done in the background. Trust me. They'll be on your screen very shortly indeed. And of course, all results are provisional, as we always say in motor racing. Lots of things can and usually do go wrong after the checkered flag. So we take it all with a moderate pinch of salt. I'll confirm it all properly, of course, to you. Race 2 tomorrow morning. And of course, you can catch it hashtag TCR Series on social media. Right, these are our provisional points then. 20 points is the extended gap for Jan Elishay from Esteban Gurrieri. 13 further back, Santiago Arrutia in 3rd position. 20 points after the first race of the day. If you offered that to Jan Elishay coming into this weekend, he would have snapped your hand right off the end of your arm. That's a fabulous start to festivities for the French driver, but not quite as good as a man who, frankly, desperately needed the kind of performance that we've seen today, Norbert Michaelis. Pole position, opening race victory, goes some way towards being a bit of a tonic for what was an incredibly disappointing opening weekend in Mexico City. Norby somewhat made up for that one, I think it's fair to say. Last time out at Valencia, the Hungarian driver with a 4th and 11th and a 5th position. Well, pole and race win. That trumps all those results quite significantly, doesn't it? And the smile says it all. He's not a man to show big, dramatic emotions as Norbert Michaelis. He's a lovely guy, actually. Probably one of the nicest people I've ever met is Norbert Michaelis. Really, really genuine chap. Loves his motor racing, and he'll absolutely love having taken that victory. As mentioned before, first time he's took a win since round 2 at Interlagos last year. So, these are our provisional race 1 results. As you well know, Norbert Michaelis from Jan Elishay and Ted Bjork. Nacho Montenegro is 4th from Esteban Gurrieri, Bebu Girolami in 6th position. All results are always provisional on these things. In 7th is Damiano Reduzzi from Jacobo Jimenez in 8th. 9th goes Victor Anderson. 10th, Mikel Azcona, Marco Butti, Lionel Pernilla, Ruben Volt, Felipe Fernandez are your top 4 team drivers. Right then, I believe Mr. Neil Cole might be ready to have a quick word with our race winner, Norbert Micheli. So why don't we head down to Parc Fermé and see who Neil's found.
Norbert Micheli, congratulations. It's a race win. Lights to flag, unchallenged. Tell us how you did it.
Italy loves me, it seems. I mean, the start was the key. I knew that I need to have a good launch just because you need to keep the right momentum. From that moment, Aurelian was putting me under a lot of pressure. I really needed to defend hard. I think he was faster than me. But again, I knew more or less the places where to defend and how to do it. And from the moment he had the problem, I think it was a puncture, it was a bit more easy because already at that point we had a gap of 2 seconds, which allowed me to focus on my lines, to focus on the brakings, to focus on being clean. And this, of course, on a circuit like this helps you to maintain the rhythm. But incredibly happy. Car was fantastic, like qualifying, and it was just pure pleasure.
Just have to do it all again tomorrow. Enjoy the podium.
Yeah, thank you very much.
There we go then, words from our race winner, Norbert Micheli. Very happy indeed is the phrase to use for Norbert. Fabulous performance and a really strong race victory. A little bit of a handshake there with Ted Bjork. Both drivers satisfied with their day's work to be on the podium here at Monza. And what a podium it is. Here is then the drivers' points provisional after that first race. Just to confirm again, 20 points difference between Jan Aleshe and Esteban Gurrieri. 33 points back Santiago Urrutia and then Ted Bjork. Points, though, only tell half of the story, of course, with things like this one, because performances don't always get the reward they deserve. So, we're going to go racing again tomorrow. We're going to have a podium in a few moments' time. But before we do that one, let's take a quick look at some of the highlights from the race that you have just enjoyed. Fabulous scenes then here at Monza. Plenty of drama has just unfolded in our first race of the weekend. We said it was going to be a difficult one for a lot of these drivers, didn't we? At the top of the show, well, I think there will not be a single driver in this field that said that that was an easy day's work, not least of which because of the temperatures, but because at Monza, you cannot afford to make a single mistake. It is a momentum circuit. It is a slipstream festival. And that's exactly what we've seen for this first race of the day. And let's remember, race number 2 tomorrow, reverse top 10 grid. So you think it was exciting now, folks? Tune in for the second one tomorrow for sure. If you're new to the world of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, and perhaps you're watching for the first time, big hello and a warm welcome to you all. You can catch all of the news and the stories around this wonderful series, TCR series on social media. We've got insight, we've got drama, we've got beauty shots as well, and everything in between, as well as insight and interviews with our key players. So please don't hesitate to head over there, but wait till we finish the broadcast, because it's time for our podium podium ceremony celebrations. That's hard after a long day of working, isn't it? And I think we're going to see 3 very happy drivers indeed in a few moments' time. And there is Ted Bjork. Always happy, Ted Bjork, even after bad days. Well, it's been a great day. From 7th on the grid to 3rd in the race. Another superb performance for Ted, former world champion, of course, in a rich vein of form for the last 12 months or so. Jan Elishay will be a delighted / rather relieved second, I think, of the checkered flag. Round of applause to the watching team, to Lincoln Co. Cyan Racings. Lovely as their overalls are. Let's mix things up and get a third mark on, get a second mark on there. And there it is. Norbert Miklis. Big respect between all the drivers in this field. They've raced each other for a very, very long time indeed. It's great to see the camaraderie. So, let's have the national anthem for Miklis.
Applauso con la consegna dei trofei che
the
avviene
Hungarian national anthem then for our race winner Norbert Miklis. You can see just how much it means to Norby to represent his home nation.
A partire dalla terza
Almost a tear in the eye
di
there. First win since Interlagos at the end of 2024. Ted Bjork receives his trophy by Giuseppe Redale, the president of the Autodromo Nazionale.
Seconda posizione di Jan Elishay.
Second position, as you can see there, Jan Elishay raises that one aloft. That's a good result for Jan. That's a really, really good result, especially to the drama of his rivals. And the biggest cheer of all is for our race winner Norbert Miklis. He'll be delighted with that one. Lovely trophies here in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Trophies are nice, but it's always the points that the drivers relish the most. BRC Hyundai and Squadra Corsa take their winning team's trophy as well. What a turnaround it's been for Hyundai. Terrible in Mexico. Very nice in Valencia. And apparently outstanding at Monza. There we go. Family photo time from our three drivers and team representative. Will they spray some champagne? Or will they go straight to the shower? I know what I'd rather do. So time-honoured fashion. A little bit of champagne spraying. They look about as enthusiastic as I do in this kind of weather. It really, 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 really is hot in Monza. But there we go. Opportunity to celebrate then for your podium winners. And the winner of all of them is Norbert Miklis from Jan Elishay, from Ted Bjork. Ted can't get out of the way of that one. Hopefully they've got spare racing suits, because we're going back again tomorrow. Let's not forget, although I dare say trying closing this weather's not too much of a problem. A little bit of a sick, that goes straight to the head when you've been racing, doesn't it? And our three very satisfied World Tour drivers go back for their debrief. Now, again, I'll remind you, tomorrow, 11:20 AM local, 09:20 UTC. We're going to be back again for round number 8, so don't miss that one. That's your driver's points on screen once again. 20 points is the advantage for Jan Elishay, Santiago Rutiger, Ted Bjork make it 3 Lincoln Co's in the top 4. Norbert Miklis vaults up to 5th with a pole position and race win. Game on in his own personal championship charge. Mikhail Kona's bad results hurts his point standings. But ladies and gents, boys and girls, it's that time of day to say goodbye. I absolutely adore motor racing, and this is why. Fabulous stuff. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you all again, 09:20 UTC on the TCR TV YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Take care and goodbye.